Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Maqbool with you at PTV WORLD. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Pakistan-US relationship and the developing dynamics, especially post the recent India-Pakistan conflict. And then, of course, the Pakistan's delegation headed by the former foreign minister traveling to the US and, of course, other areas putting forward Pakistan's stance and credible evidence as to what really is going on. And then now in the background of the Iran and Israel situation, we know that the Field Marshal and the Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir, is going to be meeting Mr. Trump as we speak. It is scheduled at 10 p.m. Pakistan time, where Mr. Trump will be hosting a lunch. And this is important, especially in terms of what this conversation would look like and what sort of angles can we really talk about, particularly, of course, in the developing situation world over, but also in the fact that we know that most recently it is the U.S. that has played a very important role in mediating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and then the fact that Mr. Trump has also expressed willingness to resolve the long-standing Kashmir issue, which is very, very integral to the discussion. And of course, in the ways that we have seen that unfortunately there hasn't been a real response or sincerity from the Indian side of actually coming to the negotiating table. The outstanding issues, including that of Kashmir and the fact that India has put forward an aggressive stance on the water supply, and then of course the kind of terror networks that exist in support of terror activities in Pakistan and the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir are all very, very serious measures and something that really needs to be addressed. And so we're going to be taking a look at what sort of a possibility exists in the role that the US can play in this regard and how we're going to move forward with this very important relationship. That is going to be the focus of our show today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh, Pitafi and Faisal, and we'll be joined by our guests very soon as well. Faisal, let me start with you with what we've seen, of course, recently happen with the India-Pakistan conflict. The dynamic between Pakistan and the US becomes even more important with, of course, the US's role in this regard. This is very, very integral to the conversation, whatever conversation that we can bring forward in terms of resolving the long-standing disputes. But given the kind of influence the US has, how do you see this turning into something real in terms of dialogue and peace negotiations with a country we know is not serious about it?
Yes, and obviously if we look at the current situation and if we take the example of post Pahalgam attack, whatever has happened, of course Pakistan has the moral standing of the whole conflict which took place between Pakistan and India. Why I say this? Because Pakistan kept on saying to the whole world that Pakistan is ready for any investigations India is conducting, and Pakistan is going to play a positive role in that. Knowing the facts that Pakistan also condemned whatever happened at Pahalgam attack, but it was all Modi's strategy, and it was of course Hindutva ideology that they wanted to attack Pakistan and they wanted to portray as if Pakistan is a land where all of these terrorists they are getting helped from, whereas the world knows the other realities about Pakistan. World knows that Pakistan has given more than 80,000 lives in war and terror. Pakistan has bear the loss of more than $220 billion worth of its economy into this war, and of course the world knows about all of these facts. Still, Modi pursued his ideology, and that was to, of course, attack Pakistan. And in retaliation to that, of course, Pakistan retaliated, and Pakistan retaliated very big. And after Pakistan's retaliation, that's when India realized suddenly that they can't control Pakistan now. So they rushed towards Washington and they asked for Washington's help in, of course, ceasefire. Pakistan. Of course, Washington knew about it, that Pakistan kept on saying that they don't want war, they want peace, they want every problem to be solved on the table of the discussions, of the dialogue, rather than in the battlefield. So it was always positive from the Washington side, because they knew that Pakistan is playing a positive role. India is the one that is obviously troublesome for the region, and that is why we can see now that Pakistan's leadership, military leadership, is in US right now, and it is expected that the promises which were made by Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, right after the ceasefire, of course, he kept on highlighting this, that I asked both of the leaderships to, of course, focus on the business side rather than in the fighting, and of course improve trade. And he pledged at that time that he would be extending a trade deal to Pakistan and trade deal to India equally, so that rather than focusing on war, they can focus on trade, they can focus on business, doing business with the Americans. But it was the Indian side that actually, if we take the example of Indian media and the figureheads of India as a state, of course, they kept on blaming, and they kept on, they were very aggressive towards Donald Trump's every statement which was coming out from that side. That too is going, of course, not in the favor of India. And in Pakistan's favor, of course, the world is recognizing that Pakistan believes in the peaceful resolves, and Pakistan believes that all of the matters should be discussed on the table and, of course, taken seriously. And especially when it comes to Kashmir, it was, of course, a reality that was forgotten by India, and India never wanted to discuss about it. Now it is being echoed in the power hubs of the world. In Washington, it is being echoed. And when it comes to IWT, of course, India took a unilateral decision which is not going to be accepted. And of course, Pakistan has already announced that if IWT is not being respected by the Indian side, of course, Pakistan has the right to retaliate in every form, because if they are going to stop the lifeline of Pakistan, if they are going to stop the waters of Pakistan, that would be taken as a war outcry, that would be taken as an act of war, and it would be reciprocated from the Pakistani side. Now, when the leadership of Pakistan, military leadership of Pakistan is in US, I am expecting that today all of these aspects would be highlighted, and I am expecting a very positive gesture from President Donald Trump. We shouldn't be forgetting that this meetup is taking place at the hour when Middle Eastern crisis is going on as well. And of course, it is a known fact that Pakistan can play a pivotal role when it comes to calming down the situation in the Middle East, because with the help of all of the friendly countries Pakistan has and brotherly countries Pakistan has, so Pakistan has a role to play. The whole Iran-Israel saga, I think Pakistan will be playing a positive role for the better gains of the whole region.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your take on this, because I understand that is the hope that is there in terms of what the US can put forward, and particularly Mr. Trump. And he's, of course, portrayed himself and talked about being a champion of peace. He's, of course, very actively talked about the resolve to contribute in the discussions around Kashmir. And, of course, the ceasefire also has been brokered by Mr. Trump and the US's support. But in terms of where we stand today, and in terms of the larger interests of the US in the region and its relationship with both India and Pakistan, what are the practical ways that can truly be expected in which Mr. Trump can actually follow through with these statements?
Right, Sana, thank you very much for the question. First of all, let me thank White House. As a Pakistani, let me thank President Trump for hosting our army chief. I think it is extraordinary move, and that actually shows his kindness towards Pakistan also. Now, there's something very funny that went on in the past 24-48 hours. You know, there was the G7 summit that was taking place. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi was not being invited, or he did not get an invite. Then last hour, he got an invite and he reached there. Amazingly, at that time, by the time he reached there, President Trump had already left. And there we didn't even see any flag of India being hoisted along with other countries, right? Or for that matter, any kind of special events or interaction that one could have actually seen. After that, something very interesting happened. Today, Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary of India, says that on the way back President Trump actually called Prime Minister Modi and asked him over that he should have a brief stopover to America. The same guy who actually had been struggling to find a window in President Trump's time to meet him, but he had turned it down because he had to go to Croatia. And because the whole thing was 7 hours long, so that's why he couldn't do it. Now, amazingly, this is a statement coming from their foreign secretary, Indian foreign secretary. We haven't seen a statement being put out or read out from their side or the US side. So I don't know what to make of it, right? But Indian media on one side rather seems very jealous, very angry, abusive, using very rough language both for Pakistan and the US, with friends like those who needs an enemy. But apart from that, when it comes to the importance of this meeting, I think it is, Faisal is right, you are right, it is very important timing. You know, when I was coming into the studio, I checked the reports, and the army chief had arrived at the White House, and the meeting was about to take place. Now, the fact is that it is a closed door meeting in which media is not allowed. So we don't have agenda from either side. But one thing is for sure. Pakistan, US have bilateral ties which are very, very old and very important, right? And both have contributed immensely to each other's security. Then Pakistan has 4 neighbors, and all are important. India, Pakistan, whatever happened, we saw it last month, and there was almost a full-blown war. Then there's the matter of Afghanistan, where the US has concerns regarding law and order situation and terrorism. And then in Iran, whatever is happening, that is also important. Now, regarding India, I don't think Indians can be helped, Sana. At this moment, they are stubbornly actually demanding that they be given the kind of optics they want, or they won't even talk, right? So with that kind of, refusal to hostility, the only thing is then Pakistan and America can talk about India rather than talk with India. That could have been the rational outcome, but unfortunately that is not happening. Now on Iran, there's very important aspect. Remember that at this moment there are 2 very interesting, pressure groups working in the US. One want the US directly involved in Iran. The other one actually wants US to have no role whatsoever. And of course, we have seen Netanyahu demanding that daisy cutters or bunker busters be given because of the place that they cannot breach. Pakistan has no, role in the war in Iran, of course. But regarding President Trump's own judgment, I can tell you one thing for sure. No matter how many people pressure him to do one thing or the other, in the end, he is going to make his own call. And as I have pointed out in the past as well, I trust his judgment implicitly. So I'm going to actually leave it at that. Regarding Iran, of course, Pakistan can provide its own context, its own understanding, but that is the extent of it. Regarding China, Pakistan is very close to China, and the US is in the middle of dialogue with China. So Pakistan can also play a role there as a bridge, a secondary bridge between the two, because they are talking directly. So Pakistan can always provide its input as well. So whether it is Pakistan's Prime Minister, whether it is Pakistan's Army Chief, whether Pakistan's ambassador, all are important, and this interaction is very important, sir.
Absolutely. Let us also welcome in the discussion Major General Retired Zahid Mehmood. Thank you very much for joining us and being a part of the discussion. And I want your take on, of course, when we talk about our Field Marshal visiting and being hosted by Mr. Trump on lunch. This is a very important equation with reference to, of course, what has been happening right now in Iran and Israel, and what has happened between India and Pakistan. And so I want your take in terms of when we take a look at this relationship and these 2 leaders in particular, what can be expected in terms of the way forward that we would like to see Pakistan navigate this relationship with the US, particularly with reference to what is happening in the region with both India and Iran?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sana, for the invite. It's a great pleasure. if you can tell your staff that I'm having this echo in my, if I'm,
All right, sure. Absolutely.
okay.
I'll request
So this is
see if they can do something
an
about
important visit, and we need to understand that this is, we can call it a strategic visit, especially with regards to the timing of the situation in Middle East, and then whatever has happened between Pakistan and India. You see, Pakistan has a key role to play in this region. I always call Pakistan a key to the region, because without Pakistan, even Americans, they must have understood that, they must have learned that without Pakistan, their application or their policies cannot be pursued in this part of the world, especially with regards to Afghanistan. But now this Middle Eastern situation, after this Israeli attack on Iran, again we have a serious situation. But this visit was planned before whatever has happened in Iran. It means that Pakistan is being looked at as a key partner. You know, lot many people are trying to equate this visit, are trying to draw certain negative conclusions from this visit, as if Pakistan is going to be a partner in war against Iran. It will never happen. Let there be no doubt. Pakistan Army, Pakistan has the Pakistan military, and the Pakistani military bases are for Pakistan's conflicts only. And mostly, you know, Pakistan has already learned from Afghanistan experience that we have to avoid, participating in a war, unwanted wars. That we suffered because of that also. Having said that, we have already extended a serious and great political and diplomatic support to Iran. Unexpectedly, you know, Iran, we have some certain issues in past also, but even considering that, whatever is coming from Israel, it has multiple purpose. You know, Pakistan is going to be affected, but whatever will be the outcome of this war. And secondly, this belligerent application of force against innocent people or against Pakistan is not acceptable. So Pakistan has already taken a very serious and important stance. But coming back to Pakistan-US relations, the US need Pakistan once again in Afghanistan, because if Afghanistan is becoming again a hub of terrorism, a place from where not many franchises will be operating, and then the spoilers, and I always call them the factors of instability in this region. The countries like, you know, India, they'll be misusing this soil and pursuing their political objectives to destabilize Pakistan and to checkmate the progress of China, you know. And even, you know, other countries will also fall. So there is a threat to Western interest also and American interest also, because we have already hearing regrouping, resurgence of ISIS, ISKP. So with regards to that, already there is an impression in America that without Pakistan we cannot stabilize Afghanistan. President Trump is already conscious of whatever has happened after that withdrawal. He has already called that withdrawal a shameful withdrawal from Afghanistan, because that has left a chaotic Afghanistan. They have left around $7 billion weapons and ammunition, and it reflects that as if some rebel groups have withdrawn from here, not an organized military of NATO or United States. So I think this is a very critical time, and of course, all the issues will come under discussion, and I think no one can be better person than Field Marshal Asim Munir to represent Pakistan, because he will have then the intelligence chief, General Asim, is also with him. He has a very good team. He will also have an opportunity to interact with the Trump's cabinet also. There'll be a lot of cabinet members, key members will also be present over there. So they'll have a better opportunity to understand our perspective. And of course, President Trump has already spoken about a nuclear responsible and effective Pakistan. He has already spoken very good about Pakistan, and he has a very good perception. And remember, we must take advantage of this environment. And whatever is coming from India, I was just watching their news and all that. So that also reflects the importance of this visit, So it's a strategic visit. Let's see what will be the outcome. But I'm pretty certain that it will be a positive outcome from this visit.
Right, absolutely. General Saab, there's also, of course, the question of different issues that are also on the line, and one of the important ones is terrorism. And we have seen that Mr. Trump has commended Pakistan recently, also with regards to our help on capturing one. And then there's also the US CENTCOM chief that has lauded Pakistan's role. And these are important, of course, aspects in terms of Pakistan's contribution and the fact that Pakistan, of course, really faces this threat and issues and is dealing with it. But in terms of actual collaboration or cooperation for Pakistan's own interests in terms of anti-terrorism activities as well, what is the possibility that you see that can happen in terms of real cooperation against terrorism?
You see, as I've already mentioned a little bit, that Pakistan is already, having a very good cooperation with the United States of America. Once we handed over this captured ISKP terrorist to America, nobody in Pakistan even knew that already this cooperation is going on. It's a ongoing process, the collaboration between two intelligence agencies and all that. And their CIA is very much clear about the sincerity of Pakistan with regards to terrorism, because we are the biggest victim of this menace. Pakistan has suffered the most. Pakistan has sacrificed the most. So we understand the pain. That's why we need to collaborate with the United States of America, and they exactly know that Pakistan has done it with a lot of sincerity. And not that I, being Pakistani, saying this. President Trump has, he has admitted the contributions of Pakistan, and it is also, proved from the statement of General Kurela, the commander CENTCOM, once he was appearing in the standing committee. So he has already mentioned about the contributions and the efforts and the loyalty and sincerity of Pakistan to eliminate, in the effort to eliminate this menace of terrorism. This can be one of the extremely important point of convergence. But other than that, I think during this visit, the economic cooperation, because we need to create stakes of United States of America and Pakistan in trade or in economy or in other fields. Especially, we must speak about and we must improve upon the people-to-people contact. That soft core image of Pakistan, that has to be there. That will give a prolonged, that will give up having a very good relation for a longer period of time. Once you have relationship based on the military situations only, that is for a limited period of time. But once you have relationship based on having an economic interest in each other's country, a lot of investment coming in, and then people-to-people contact, cultural exchanges and all that, these things have longer effects. So we need to understand that. But always in the past, we have seen that once there were a military coordination or a military convergence on interest, we had very good relations. And just after those issues were settled, Pakistan has a story of betrayal coming from United States of America. So we need to understand that other than the military, we must improve upon other things. And I think this visit of General Asim can be a very good starting point, to be very honest. We need to. That's why I always used to say that after defeating India in this war, the notion of victory has brought a lot of fruits for our diplomatic, and political ascendancy. The recognition, they now exactly recognize Pakistan as a force to reckon with. That's why President Trump has spoken about this ceasefire for around 14 times. He's speaking about the Kashmir issue. He's praising Pakistan military. He's praising Pakistan as a state, a responsible nuclear state. That is most important. He has not shed a word of negativity on our nuclear program. So that indicates that there is something, there is a very good feeling, a very good environment, and we must take advantage of this.
Yeah, General Zahid, it is good that it's been highlighted right now that Indians are still sidelined by the Americans when it comes to, obviously, Donald Trump meeting with the Narendra Modi. Of course, that didn't take place. Right before that, he flew away towards Washington because there was something more important he had to do, and he is going to do it very soon. But can we say that that phase of Indian media, in which, of course, they saw the worst phase of their works, and of course it was full of fake news, still that is going on in terms of, if we take the example of Israelis desperately want Americans to, of course, be part of this war against Iran. At the same time, Indian media is shouting out loud that there is another country that is actually helping out Iran against Israel, and that is Pakistan. Pakistan is giving them air defense. Pakistan is giving them other weapons and ballistics and everything. And if you are going to fix Iran, come here and beat Pakistan as well. Can we say that Indian media's propaganda is still going on against Pakistan, so that, they want to avenge from Pakistan whatever happened to them in May? In June, they want to avenge it, not by themselves, because they can't dare do it anymore. So they want someone else to come and beat Pakistan.
Raja Sahab, this is because of you it is happening in Indian media. I told you not to participate in their programs because you have contributed so much and you have, disturbed them so much. Now it was just a lighter part. Raja Sahab, what else they can do? Their media was not allowed to enter the G7 halls, the places of discussion. And Modi was asking, and they have not let you go in. So that's not the media. It's a circus, boys, and this is a Godi media, and whatever is there on the Indian channels or Indian media, that is for the consumption of their local public. This is the domestic audience they are addressing. They have already made them. It's kind of a sick mind they have created inside India, and their whole population is unfortunately affected by this. So it is for the consumption of the domestic audience. You see, look at the international approach towards Pakistan. See the approach of IMF. You have seen what President Trump is doing with. I was speaking about Pakistan. General Kurela's statement is very important. And that is how Pakistan is being looked at. Look at Chinese, attraction towards Pakistan. It's more rather before we had this kind of relationship we were having before this escalation. So that's the problem of the Indians. What else can they do? They don't want to, get out of this phobia, Pakistani phobia. In 21st century, the more they will speak negative about Pakistan, international community will not take them seriously, because they will say that this is a normal rhetoric. They have become habitual of doing all this stuff, and they're bruised. And look at, they think that everyone in this world is a fool. They can make fool of everyone, each one of us. It's not possible. Modi is now saying that I was being invited by Trump and I was busy. So I said, I will not come. As if some, guests are going from your home and you're saying, come, have lunch with us, but you don't want to see their face in your house. There is a saying that somebody came to see me. When he told me that he's going to come and see me, I was glad. And when he told me because of the commitments I won't be able to come, I was much more glad. So this is the kind of stuff happening with Modi. But anyways, I think this is a serious situation for Pakistan. Pakistan has got an opportunity. We should not look everything through the prism of India. You see, we should not be doing things through Indian prism, because it is the bilateral relationships are very, very important. So we need to have deep strategic relationship with United States, and not with regards to the military aspects. I've already alluded that people-to-people contact. There are other, spheres also. Now, this is most important for Pakistan, that how we navigate between all this, having good relations with China, very good relations with United States and other Arab countries. Now, this is the best opportunity. And if we will keep ourselves, tagged with India all the time, or keep doing things what Indians are doing, same thing will happen. What is happening with Modi and his Hindutva and RSS inside India and the whole world, he has become a kind of a joke, you know. But again, I would say that Pakistan is lucky that our winning military commander is in the United States of America. So his words will be taken very, very seriously. Once you have a performing journal or a performing individual representing a performing nation, people lend you their ears, their soul, their heart, their mind, and then they carve out their strategies. But again, in American context, this window is very short. We must take full advantage of this short period of time. Otherwise, I think Pakistan may face certain problems in future, especially whatever is happening in Iran. Serious threat is there, and people are already talking about the regime change and all. Whatever, if it is a pro-Israeli government in Iran, we have serious issues. So these are our concerns which must be shared with United States of America, and I'm sure Field Marshal will definitely going to discuss, share their concern, and will share the true Pakistani perspective and true pulse of people of this area, our perception about United States of America, and how that perception or how that thing can be improved. Because he will not have any, diplomatic pressures on him. He's a military commander, so military has this advantage that they can talk everything without any fears behind it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, General Zahid, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. And these are important points, Farrukh, and I want your take on, particularly in terms of the way that both the leaders and the decision makers, but also the people at large, are viewing this relationship.
Right, Sana. First of all, because General Sahab was mentioning Indian media, I remembered watching a clip where their journals are very angry and they are very abusive, and then they start calling Pakistan guns for hire and Pakistan army, mercenary army. So I said, we are not mercenary army, but please hire us against India. We are going to beat the pulp out of them, right? But regardless, on a serious note, I think that while these discussions will go on, I think that Pakistan, of course, has its own fault lines. Pakistan has its own firewalls, so to speak, regarding its concerns and its interests. But I'm sure that President Trump is going to hear what he is going to like. I think that whatever the outcome, it is going to be positive for both countries. Now, regarding the importance and how these meetings are going to be viewed, we have already mentioned Indian side, how they are reacting. Pakistani side is already in a kind of daze for past 1 year, 1 month, whatever has happened with India. And the way Pakistan actually emerged on top of things, it seems that we are on the top of the world at this moment. So Pakistani, people, view it very happily, and they are receiving it well. Of course, there is one opposition party that usually goes for some kind of protest, and there was a call, but what I saw was hardly any people actually gathered. Similarly to what happened for Modi ji when he went to one of the countries while refueling, right, Cyprus. There they had a bunch of people, like a handful, two dozen people. So this is how things were. I think that Pakistan-US relationship is not going to be exclusive of any other relationship, but it is going to be very useful for both these countries. And I've been saying this for quite some time. Amazingly, these two countries have helped each other a lot. When Pakistan was actually created, Pakistan's army was somewhere around 125,000 soldiers, right? Pakistan, because India was really trying to cut down on supplies of Pakistan's share, Pakistan did not get the kind of hardware that was needed. It was the US with whom we had this agreement, and we got a lot of access and support. Similarly, in two very critical moments in history, one, during the Cold War, Pakistan played a pivotal, critical role in deciding the outcome of that war. And then in war on terror also. How many other allies do you get, Sana, who would actually take the blame for your failures, right? and yet continue to work with you to help you out of any situation. So Pakistan did that. Despite that, there is incredible denial on both sides about this relationship. I think it is one of the best relationships possible. The only thing is then your spoilers, your detractors are very influential, and you have seen now India has stopped actually making any excuses or any kind of appearances for whatever they do. Now they have come out very openly, and it is hideous nature that they are showing. So with that kind of a situation, I think that Pakistan and America find it themselves working on a positive trajectory. Of course, with President Trump, there are two things which are very important. They need to be said. One, Sana, is that President Trump usually says many things. Of course, he is listening to many voices, but in the end, whenever he makes a decision, usually it is the right one. That is very important to understand. The second one is that President Trump does not see the world through the prism of bureaucracy or these pundits that dominate channels. So the new Cold War, fight with China, fight with Russia, he does not see the world with that lens. He sees it with mutual cooperation. And I think that in coming days, what we are going to see is a world that might appear in a very different shape than whatever these pundits and these neocons are going to actually have been trying to achieve so far.
Absolutely. Faisal, you have something to add?
Yes, Sana, I wanted to talk about Modi ji's presence, and of course, one thing is for sure: nobody likes to stand with the losers. And the way he was roaming around there, and the meeting I saw with the President Macron. I mean, President Macron's meeting with Modi was, very reluctant, and I could see that there is unease on the part of President Macron. Reason being, I'm pretty much sure when the cameras were a bit away and there was no mic around, they must have been talking about Rafales. They must have been talking about how badly India has, shocked the the French company Dassault, because reason being their shares, they were going so up so high, and suddenly everything went like it was a Rafale. It was a Rafale after being hit by Pakistan, and it went down the way it went down. Everything was going that way. The reason I'm just highlighting this, that at this hour, I mean, the way everyone was trying to disassociate themselves from the Indian side, and knowing the facts that first of all he was not invited, and then later on when he was invited, he simply said, oh yes, I want to. Initially he said, I won't be going, and Indian media was like, we are not going to attend it, but then they did attend, and he was there. And of course, if we see the queues and queues of vehicles which I could see with the yellow flags of Khalistan movement, of course they were everywhere. This shows that the reception he was receiving in Canada, it was all about Khalistan movement, of course showing the placards to Modi that you are not welcome at all because you are a murderer, you are someone who doesn't like Sikhs in India, who doesn't give a right of freedom to the Sikhs of India. And to me, I think it's a miserable kind of situation for Modi. And at the same time, Indian media is crying out loud that we were invited by President Trump as well. And few of them, they are even suggesting that perhaps President Trump wanted this opportunity to, of course, both of the military leadership from Pakistan side and then Indian leadership, he wanted both of them to sit together and negotiate peace and everything. But the presence of Pakistani military leader, it is not accepted to India. That's why we are not going to meet, and that's why we are trying to avoid that meeting, and we would like to have a chance to meet one-on-one with President Trump rather than in the presence of somebody else. So this is the state of affair of today's India. They are embarrassed, they are shambolic, and right at the end, of course, they don't know how to react. It's more like when they lost everything, their military leadership, especially their their Air Force leadership, they didn't know how to react to their losses. When they were asked questions about how many planes you have lost because your adversaries, Pakistan side, of course, they are claiming that they have shot down this number of Rafales and this number of total fighter jets, and they said we have no numbers. We haven't lost anything. All we can say is that all of our pilots are safely home. And later on, one by one, everyone is talking about we don't care about how many we've lost in terms of fighter jets. Fighter jets are coming with the money, and we have a hell lot of money. It's Pakistan who hasn't got the money, and they say that all of our pilots are safe, and that's what matters. Come on, get a life.
Yes, Farrukh, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, regarding Modi ji and his meeting with Macron, President Macron, I tell you one thing. I've lived for quite some time, and I have had a long career. So there are good days and there are bad days. There are days when you walk into an office and everybody actually comes together in your support and standing beside you just to enjoy your company. And then there are days when you walk into the room and everybody starts fleeing, right?
Yeah.
So Modi ji is caught in the second, phase because we saw President Trump actually left just before he was to arrive. But that video also with President Macron, remember that next year G7 is being hosted by France. With that video with President Macron was quite interesting. You know, you have very good Western friends. I have very good Western friends. The first thing they believe in is personal space, right? And in personal space, usually most of them are handshakers, they're not huggers. So Modi ji has to actually go and physically assault a person to, embrace him or hug him. So what came out visually was painful to watch. It was cringe because it seemed that somebody is being manhandled into a hug. And then this affectation of forcing a conversation smilingly was also bad. But I think that India at this moment should realize, I have very quick two points to make. One, India now knows that Modi and his entire team are a liability. If they can't chuck him, it is not anybody else's fault, right? It will continue, but the world is going to treat them the way they are doing it right now. The second thing is coming back to our army chiefs meeting with President Trump and DJI being there also. I think these are two people who can really articulate Pakistan's case well. And I hope that that happens because these are people who are not only very articulate, who understand the geostrategy and geoeconomics, but who also know how important US-Pakistan relationship is. So I am hoping to see some magic here.
Yeah, Sana, one last thing. Did you know one fact about NSA of India, Ajit Doval, that he never missed a chance to come in front of the camera? In every meeting, whenever he was present in that meeting, he always made sure that where the cameras were, and he always placed himself where he could be, recognized that he is there. But this time around, he was in the meetings. When I was looking around and when I was obviously trying to find out who was sitting next to Modi and who was sitting where, he was there, but he was hiding. He was shying away from the camera. And this is the very Ajit Doval who actually used to tell, Bollywood orchestrated stories of his spying in Pakistan to chattars of all of the, Shastra universities and all of the other universities. Like he was, Indian version of a demo copy of James Bond.
Right. Thank you, Faisal, and thank you, Farrukh, for joining us in the debate. As always, that's all that we have time for. We'll now see you tomorrow.